Franklin Graham, born on July 14, 1952, in Asheville, North Carolina, is the eldest son of the renowned evangelist Billy Graham and his wife, Ruth Bell Graham. From his earliest years, Franklin was immersed in an environment deeply rooted in Christianity. The Graham household was a place where faith was central, marked by regular prayer, Bible reading, and discussions about the importance of living a life of service to God and others. This religious upbringing, combined with his father's global prominence, created a unique atmosphere filled with spiritual lessons, yet also presented challenges for Franklin, as the expectations on him were immense. Despite being raised in a family where Christian values were paramount, Franklin's teenage years were turbulent. Like many young people, he desired independence and freedom, and his search for identity led him down a path of rebellion. He struggled with his faith, pushing back against the religious teachings that had been ingrained in him from a young age. This phase of rebellion included experimenting with drugs and alcohol and adopting a lifestyle that was at odds with the values of his parents. His defiance during this period created internal conflict as he grappled with who he was versus who he was expected to be. As Franklin entered his 20s, his life of rebellion led to a personal crisis. The disconnect between his upbringing and the lifestyle he had embraced became increasingly evident. He was faced with a sense of emptiness and discontentment, realizing that his rebellious pursuits were not providing the fulfillment he sought. At the age of 22, this period of personal turmoil reached a pivotal moment. Franklin experienced a profound spiritual awakening, a moment that would change the course of his life. During this transformative time, Franklin committed his life to Jesus Christ. This was not a fleeting emotional experience, but a deep soul-searching decision that reshaped his identity and his purpose. His decision to follow Christ marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one where his faith became central to everything he did. No longer resisting the faith of his childhood, Franklin embraced it fully, igniting a passion for evangelism and service. This newfound commitment led him to follow in the footsteps of his father, but with a unique calling of his own. In 1974, Franklin joined Samaritan's Purse, an international relief organization founded by Bob Pierce in 1970. The mission of Samaritan's Purse is to demonstrate the love of Jesus Christ by providing humanitarian aid to those in crisis with a focus on disaster relief, poverty alleviation, and medical assistance. Franklin quickly found himself drawn to the work of the organization, particularly its efforts to help the world's most vulnerable populations. His time with Samaritan's Purse deepened his sense of purpose, reinforcing his belief in the power of combining evangelism with compassionate service. 5 years after joining the organization, Franklin was appointed president and CEO of Samaritan's Purse, succeeding Pierce. Under his leadership, the organization expanded significantly, both in terms of reach and impact. Franklin spearheaded numerous initiatives focused on disaster relief, including emergency response efforts following hurricanes, earthquakes, and other natural disasters around the globe. His leadership was characterized by a hands-on approach. He often traveled to disaster-stricken areas to assess the needs firsthand, inspire volunteers, and ensure that the organization's resources were being used effectively. A defining moment in Franklin's leadership came in the aftermath of the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. Samaritan's Purse was one of the first organizations to mobilize, providing medical care, food, water, and shelter to thousands of people affected by the disaster. Franklin's personal involvement in the relief efforts highlighted his commitment to service and his desire to be an active participant in the work of the organization rather than merely a figurehead. Samaritan's Purse also made significant contributions in the area of global medical aid under Franklin's leadership. The organization deployed mobile medical units and emergency field hospitals in response to crises like the Ebola outbreak in West Africa in 2014. These efforts were crucial in combating the spread of the disease and providing critical care to affected populations. Franklin's role in these humanitarian crises exemplified his belief that service should not only meet immediate physical needs, but also address the spiritual and emotional needs of those affected. In addition to his work with Samaritan's Purse, Franklin also took on a leadership role within the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, BGEA, in 2000, following the death of his father. As president and CEO of BGEA, Franklin continued the work of spreading the gospel through large-scale evangelistic events known as festivals. These festivals were similar to the crusades his father led, drawing thousands of people to hear the message of salvation through Jesus Christ. Franklin's approach to evangelism combined traditional preaching with modern outreach methods. His festivals often included performances by contemporary Christian musicians and testimonies from individuals who had experienced personal transformations through faith. He also utilized digital platforms and social media to extend the reach of these events, allowing people who couldn't attend in person to participate virtually. This blend of old and new allowed Franklin to connect with diverse audiences, from those steeped in Christian traditions to younger generations seeking spiritual guidance. One of the most notable initiatives Franklin launched through Samaritan's Purse was Operation Christmas Child, which began in 1993. This project aims to deliver shoeboxes filled with gifts and essential items to children in need around the world. Each shoebox includes toys, clothing, school supplies, and hygiene products, along with a message of hope and love. Since its inception, Operation Christmas Child has grown exponentially, distributing millions of shoeboxes to children in over 100 countries. Franklin has been a vocal advocate for the project, emphasizing the importance of sharing both physical gifts and the message of Jesus Christ with children facing difficult circumstances. Despite the widespread impact of Franklin's work, his public life has not been without controversy. His outspoken views on social and political issues, particularly on topics such as immigration and LGBTQ+ rights, have polarized public opinion. While many evangelicals view him as a bold voice standing firm on biblical principles, others have criticized him for being too politically aligned or for making divisive statements. Franklin's personal life has also been shaped by significant loss. The death of his mother, Ruth, in 2007, followed by the passing of his father, Billy Graham, in 2018, were profound moments of grief that deeply impacted him. He has often spoken about how these losses strengthened his faith and reinforced his commitment to carrying on his parents' legacy of faith, service, and evangelism. Through all the challenges, whether personal loss, public scrutiny, or the complexities of leading global humanitarian efforts, Franklin Graham has consistently pointed to his faith as the source of his strength. His life's work, from his leadership at Samaritan's Purse to his role at BGEA, is a testament to his unwavering belief in the transformative power of the gospel and the importance of serving others in times of need. Franklin conducted his first evangelistic event in 1989 and now conducts crusades called festivals around the world for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, BGEA. He has proclaimed the gospel message at more than 325 outreaches in 50 U.S. states and territories and in more than 55 countries. So far this year, Graham has shared the gospel in Mexico City, Mexico, Krakow, Poland, Naples, Italy, 10 cities along the U.S.-Mexico border, as well as Birmingham, England, and Glasgow, Scotland. Thousands of people attended these events where they heard the message of God's love and forgiveness available through his son, Jesus Christ. Graham is looking forward to preaching in Can Tho, Vietnam later this year. The Billy Graham Evangelistic Association appointed Franklin Graham CEO in 2000 and president of the organization in 2001. As a speaker and author, Graham regularly addresses current moral and social issues, calling Christians to stand for biblical values and challenging them to make a difference in the world for the sake of the gospel. He is editor-in-chief of BGEA's decision magazine, The Evangelical Voice for Today, which features solid scriptural teaching as well as timely articles with a biblical worldview about issues and events in today's culture, including many topics that affect the freedom of believers to live out their faith. He also offers biblical context and application to current national and world events. He has met privately with 6 U.S. presidents, as well as world leaders from Europe, Africa, Asia, and Latin America. When Graham was in his early 20s, Dr. Bob Pierce, founder of Samaritan's Purse, invited him to join him on a 6-week mission to Asia. It was during that time that Graham felt a calling to work with hurting people in areas of the world affected by war, famine, disease, poverty, and natural disaster. Graham was elected to the board of Samaritan's Purse in 1978, and 1 year later, following the death of Dr. Pierce, he was elected president of the organization. Today, he serves as president and CEO of the International Relief and Evangelism Organization headquartered in Boone, North Carolina. Samaritan's Purse works in the name of Jesus Christ to provide relief and assistance in more than 170 countries and territories. It has affiliate offices in Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and South Korea, as well as field offices in 17 developing countries. Through his work with Samaritan's Purse, Graham has been instrumental in helping people impacted by major crises for more than 40 years, including the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ebola outbreak in West Africa, 9/11's terrorist attacks, wars, and natural disasters across the globe, ranging from catastrophic hurricanes to devastating wildfires to massive earthquakes. William Franklin Graham III, born July 14, 1952, is the fourth of 5 children of evangelist Billy Graham and his wife, the late Ruth Bell Graham. Raised in a log home in the Appalachian Mountains outside Asheville, North Carolina, he now lives in Boone, North Carolina. In his autobiography, Rebel with a Cause, Graham explained that, "Just being the son of Billy Graham won't get me into heaven." He knew that he was being called to do more with his life and to make a real commitment to God. So, at age 22, after a period of rebellion and traveling the world, he committed his life to Jesus Christ while alone in a hotel room in Jerusalem.